Good morning, everyone. So in the next 10 minutes, I will be sharing with you a recently published ACCA report called The Race for Relevance, which basically explores how to harness the power of digital to systematically to address the challenges of digital transformations, as well as just basically getting the organization behind you when you are actually embarking on a digital transformation. And this will set the scene for the next session, which will go into dive deeper into the actual findings of the report. Now, the technology, right? Technology is a double-edged sword. I think by now you would have realized that. And since our session today is talking about internal controls, let's talk about internal controls. If today I ask you to create or design an internal control system for Industry 4.0, okay, what would you do? Okay, you've got the IoT, the Internet of Things. You can use cameras, you can use sensors, you can use drones. The world has changed in terms of internal control. All those opportunities that come with the emerging technologies. But there are also risks. Okay, by next year, there will be about 30 billion devices being connected. By 2025, there will be about 75 billion devices being connected. So just think of the risks: data security, cybersecurity risk. If you're a CFO and not shivering now, there must be something wrong. Okay, because internal controls, cybersecurity is becoming more and more important. And even today, if we can't cope with all those breaches, I wonder in 5 years' time what the world will be like. But happily, we have the PwCs, we have all the consultancies to actually help us tide the waves of disruption. Now, the thing about this is internal controls are not going to remain just totally internal. Later, we will discuss a little bit about that. But besides just what the finance people think, or what the internal auditor thinks, or what the audit committee thinks, we also have the analysts, we also have investors looking at your company, assessing your risk profiles. Right? So we will also take a look at that later in a following session. One of the most important things, perhaps, to think about in relation to digital transformation is probably this. It is not a once-off event. It's going to occur again and again. So what we call, it will come in waves. Here we call it waves of disruption in this particular report with IMA, called Innovation and ERM, Partners in Managing the Waves of Disruption. It says in this digital age, continuous technological disruptions are causing increased risk and uncertainty for companies. Increasing innovation within the organization also generate new risks not considered before. So as the innovation cycles become faster and faster, the time between the waves will become shorter and shorter. So it is not you can't just react to digital transformations as they come along. You have to have a system in order to react to waves as many as they come. You will be able to react to it. And of course, technology governance comes into mind. Okay, technology governance and a proper internal control system which is flexible, okay, which is responsive to the environment. So we have a number of collaborations with PwC in Singapore, of course, in this particular collaboration with PwC and INSEAD, EMI. In the UK, we have quite a number of collaborations also between ACCA and PwC UK. And this is from the report, Taking Advantage of Risk and Regulatory Complexity, just recently published. It says that the speed of change in today's environment means that longer-term strategy and risk appraisals can become quickly updated. In other words, innovation cycles and the waves of disruptions also has an implication on your risk assessments, okay? Your control risk assessments as well as your general risk assessments. So basically, we have to update our risk assessments as we go along, right? There are some words of advice from this particular report. Maybe I'll just go through it very quickly. It says CFOs should recognize the benefits of becoming involved in the management of complex strategy risks across the organization and not limit themselves to managing only financial reporting risks. Do you agree or do you not agree? That's something for you to think about. Work collaboratively with others across the organization to understand and manage risks, drive the use of data and analytics to assist in identifying and managing risks. So control analytics is becoming more and more important. Assess risks to both manage potential downside impacts and identify and capitalize on opportunities to drive commercial advantage for the organization. There's another report coming up between ACCA, collaboration between ACCA and PwC UK in about 2 weeks' time. It's called Culture and Future Finance. It's going to be discussed in our annual conference on 14th of May, which is really on agility, which is becoming important now. Now, the report I actually want to talk to you about is this report called The Race for Relevance, Technology Opportunities for the Finance Function. It talks about the opportunity and challenge for finance and the technologies in play. Of course, there are hundreds of technologies. We are going to just sample a couple of them here in this report. And in the PwC ACCA INSEAD report that you're going to hear about in the next session, there is also another list of technologies that we're going to talk about. Now, what it says is that digitalization is transforming business. You have to grasp the opportunities, okay? Does technology make finance? How does finance use technology, okay, to go to the next level? Where do you start? Do you have to have what sort of roadmap do you have? Okay, so this particular report actually gives a sort of solution, right? A map for you to think about when you're implementing digital transformations. But what the CFO needs to know is, all the emerging technologies that are coming up. Of course, everybody has heard of cloud, and practically everyone is on the cloud right now, right? Now, cloud technology. One thing when I reflect on cloud technology and think about, the fact that digital does not exist in a vacuum. Digital actually exists in an organization, in a culture. Actually, although you're having a digital transformation, the organization changes, the culture changes, and behavior changes. Okay, in this particular case, cloud enables you to do your work anywhere in the world at any time, right? So it also enables agility. I just now mentioned the annual conference on 14th of May. We are going to talk about agility because it's becoming, no matter how much of technology and digital transformation you have to make sure that the culture is flexible enough to accept and drive those changes. Analytics is becoming more important in this particular case, control analytics. I really can't, when you think of the word accountant, right? By 2030, I wonder whether the term accountant will still be used or not. Because all accountants nowadays are also, basically there's an analytics module, and basically, to me, my personal opinion is that analytics will be the future accounting activity that we do, right? But of course, specific to finance or internal audit or control and things like that. So in the Race for Relevance report, of course, they also have highlighted the importance of data, right? It says the CFO must ensure that there's sufficient governance of the data sources, be these internal or externally generated, to provide insights based upon one version of the truth. I think everybody agrees with this. I was speaking to a very well-known CFO of a listed corporation just a couple of weeks ago, and I was asking her about a job and things like that, and she was telling me that her senior management has just told her that besides being a CFO, she needs to be a CDO also, Chief Data Officer. Okay, so basically you can see the interrelationship between finance and data, right? And of course I asked her, so did you get a raise in pay, in salary, right? So what was the answer? The answer was no. She didn't get. And so basically, it seems that the senior management expects CFOs to actually be on top of data and look after data governance. The report that I was mentioning, culture and the future finance function. One of the questions it explores is whether the CFO will be replaced by the CDO. Okay, maybe this is one solution. Just get the CFO to do the CDO's job. Okay, and we'll be very happy, less cost, more cost effective for the organization as a whole. But of course, I'm saying that, of course, in certain organizations, possibly you do need a proper CDO. Another CDO, not proper CDO. Definitely CFOs can do that job too. Robotic process automation is becoming the rage now. Funny thing about RPA is that everybody's talking about RPA, everybody's saying they are doing RPA, but when you actually go into the organization, they say they're just still exploring it. But RPA, basically, you use it for repetitive, high volume, rules-based kind of tasks, things that humans do not want to do, right? So basically, what is RPA takes out, is what they say, RPA takes out the robot from humans, right? So analytics, robotics, cloud technology, I think a lot of y'all are already implementing it, but of course, it doesn't stay the same, right? Every year you have innovations and things move on. Social media, with the rise of, concerns about fake news, okay, should CFOs be concerned about social media too? Cybersecurity issues, okay, I was recently reading an article and they say the top finance job in future will be the cyber CFO. So cybersecurity, why is cybersecurity so important to the finance function? Just think of the financial implications of a cyber breach or cyber attack, okay? Artificial intelligence is pervasive throughout all the technologies, right? We have issues with AI, ethical issues, as well as just basically, how AI makes decisions and how sometimes we do not know why AI is making those decisions, okay? So the question is, how much do you rely on AI? How much do you rely on human intelligence in a particular instance? So something to think about. Now, what the race for relevance value add is, basically it gives 6 imperatives for the CFO, which I'll talk about. It says CFOs need to develop a roadmap. Yeah, you can't just you can't just react to digital transformation. You must anticipate them, and in order to anticipate them, you need to have a roadmap. So CFOs need to develop a roadmap that enables them to recognize the short-term benefits and the longer-term gains. They need to accept that with these technologies, often better to fail fast, experiment, and be able to move on rather than to not try at all. Okay, I don't know how much you agree with that. There are risks in failing too, but you have to weigh the risk. So it gives this basic formula. It says align the strategy, the overall strategy with your digital strategy, build the business case with your management in terms of digital transformation, appreciate the value of data, manage the organizational impact of technology change, focus on your talent and the skill sets that are required, assess the impact of technology on governance and risk management. So if you want to read more about this, of course, you can go to our website, the Race for Relevance. I've basically outlined some of the technologies and the fact that, besides opportunities, technology also imposes risks on the organization. And let's think about the internal control implications of all these different technologies: artificial intelligence, cloud, RPA, robots running around, 100 robots running around doing their own thing in their own desktops. Okay, what are the implications to internal control? So I will leave my colleague to speak about that. So thank you very much for your attention.